to initiatives searching for seed funding for research or implementation, and also initiatives are looking for scaling up and that are expanding coverage or development of new components. So the grants are awarded to projects to be implemented over a time frame of 6 to 12 months, and we allocate $10,000. For the FIRE awards, they are given to projects with proven records in recognition for their contributions, or projects that are in the last stages of development. So the prize is of $3,000, and we also allocate a travel grant of $400,000 to attend the Internet Governance Forum, where the recipients can build contacts and understand better the internet ecosystem and get in touch, meet potential donors, sponsors. So I was saying in introduction that projects to be accepted by the FIRE program have to be aligned with 3 funding categories. So those categories are common for the grants and the awards, and that are innovation or access provision. So this category covers projects that are fostering ICT growth in Africa by ensuring that the delivery mechanism is available, reliable, and scalable. And projects as well that are reducing barriers to communications, particularly in rural areas. So the second funding category is the e-development one. That category includes development, deployment, and enhancement of content, applications, and new technical solutions. For the third category, which is the freedom of expression, it covers all the internet rights to be protected, so initiatives related to freedom of expression, association, and privacy, etc. So we have a fourth one, which is a special one for the named the Community Choice Award, and that is only reserved to the awards. And this category awards initiative with the best social media campaign. So we make a call for voting, and the community is the one deciding which project should win. So in 2013, we had 11 projects selected from 7 economies. If you want more details, you can go on the website where we have stated the 11 winning projects. So those grantees are presently communicating their final technical and financial reports that are to be published on the website. And once we have received them all, we will proceed with the evaluation that should be started in July 2014. So for the capacity building, besides the seed funding, through grants and awards, we also support efforts for capacity building in the region. So an example is the workshop we organized in Abidjan during the Afrinic 19 that was on grant proposal developments. And this workshop was to help prospective applicants to develop their drafting capacities to submit their proposal to the FIRE program, but also other potential donors. So this workshop was targeted to isolated post-conflict, Lusophone, and Francophone regions. It was conducted in French, and we had 13 participants coming from 7 countries. So for the 2013 awards, we received 17 applications from 8 economies, and we had 4 winners. Unfortunately, we could not allocate the Community Choice Award as the public voting option was not available on the FIRE platform. But for the 2014 awards, it would be, so then we would proceed with the selection for the Community Choice Award. And for the freedom of expression, we did not receive any application, so we could not reward one. So for the outcome of this 2013 awards is that we brought the winners to the IGF in Bali, and where they met their colleagues from FRIDA and ISIF. So for the 2014 grants, same, we selected 11 projects from 8 economies. So the winners are on the website. So if you want to have more details on their projects, you can go on and identify their projects. So early this week, we organized a workshop on project monitoring and evaluation for the 2014 grantees, those who have been selected recently, and they were introduced to project monitoring and evaluation in order for them to submit to the FIRE program good financial and technical reports in line with our conditions. And we organized a second workshop on grant proposal development, as the one we did in Abidjan. And this one was also targeted to isolated post-conflict, but this one we added the Arabic and the Francophone speaking regions, and it was conducted in French. So we had 8 participants. Coming from 4 countries. This workshop was video recorded, and it would be uploaded on the FIRE website to serve as a free webinar. For the workshop that we organized in Abidjan, it's already available on the website. It has been video recorded as well. So for the 2014 awards, we started the process. We have received 20 submissions from 12 economies, and now the evaluation is ongoing. So probably around August, we would have the names of the award winners. So what you can do and what we need from you is to apply for grants and awards if you have projects in line with our funding categories and pursuing our mission and aims, or become a partner or a sponsor, as we need more funding to support projects in our region and supporting innovation for the future of Africa and its people. So partners can contribute from $30,000 to $100,000, and they would become members of the FIRE program steering committee, and also have the possibility to appoint a member to the evaluation committee. So if you have less to invest than the amount stated, that is $30,000 to $100,000, you can become a sponsor. We have 3 categories of sponsor: bronze, gold, and platinum, and that would give you the possibility to fund a grant and decide on which area you want to invest it. Thank you very much. I hope I made it for the 10 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. Thank you. That was very good use of time. So, Madhvi, you're on. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Madhvi Goku, the Registration Service Manager at Afrinic, and I'll be doing the Registration Service update today. On the agenda, I'll go over the departmental overview, some processes in registration services, the observations of the host masters, and statistics. We're part of the Member Services Department. The RS department is staffed by myself and 2 IP resource number analysts, and we're also supported by the member service liaison for tasks that are related to Afrinic members. The objectives that we have set for the year have as follows: that we will contribute to the increase in the Afrinic membership base. The new member resource evaluation will be done in a timely manner, and we will continuously work on the improvement of the processes that are in place. The NMRP was launched last month. That was with the contribution of registration services towards its specifications. We also assist members in getting their resources. We use a lot of teach and approve mechanisms, like we call it, when we notice that our members are not policy compliant or are having difficulties in meeting the policy stipulations. So we work with them and we use all the tools that are available to assist them. We've also committed to review the content available on our website regarding registration services and membership and resource related documentation. We have an FAQ page and we're trying to build on it so that our members and the community can consult our website and get most of their queries attended to. We collaborate with our training colleagues at Afrinic and they give us most of the help there in terms of INRM training. They go and do the on-site training for us, and sometimes we go along with them as well. Like in Djibouti, our registration services handle the INRM training, but otherwise, when the training team goes out to train in our host countries during the year, they handle the INRM training. But we give them feedback on what our members require so that they can further transmit the message to them. We're still process-oriented. We will go for the ISO certification this year, and we are continuously improving them, removing the bottlenecks, and also including an internal audit process to comply with the policy stipulations as well, where we have to evaluate requests in a timely and transparent manner. Some of the hostmaster observations are that our members are returning the longer ASNs that are being issued to them. The difficulties they are facing and that we have documented is that their equipment don't support these long ASNs. And when further queried, they tell us they don't have the money to purchase the new iOS that would support these long ASNs. As long as we have the short ASNs in the pool, we accept the returns and issue them the shorter ones. Our members still experience a lot of reverse DNS registration issues. We're working with them and drafting detailed documentation in how we can assist them in ensuring that they have the proper reverse delegations that are registered on the WHOIS database and that they know how to ensure that they are propagated. I mean, they must put in valid information, configure their name servers, etc., before the propagation can happen. We're still faced with requests from contacts. Our member contacts are obsolete, so when we get requests, it's usually from a non-authorized contact, and where we have to go back and update the contacts first before we can proceed with the resource evaluation. Resource tickets sometimes get stalled because of non-payment of annual fees. We start the evaluation, but most of the time, by the time we've completed the evaluation, the payment is still not received. So then there's a delay in the resource issuance, and there's also a delay in the closure of the tickets. Another point to note is regarding the global resource pool. So the INA implemented the global policy this year, last month, And we've got a /12 worth of IP addresses that have been allocated to Afrinic and have moved that to our available pool. At INA level, they have only 495 smaller ASNs left. Statistics-wise, I've shown the global distribution of the IP addresses that Afrinic has already issued by country, and there has been some changes in there. We see 2 small islands of the Indian Ocean appearing on these stats where I know last year they were not. Even the previous years, they were not appearing. Mauritius and Seychelles. These are, this doesn't mean that Mauritius and Seychelles have seen a tremendous growth in the IP usage there, but these would refer to companies that are registered, that have global business licenses in these 2 countries, and they have requested for IP addresses, or in some cases there has been a consolidation into holding companies, and these have contributed to the statistics that we see now. Otherwise, most of the IPs are still allocated to South Africa. Egypt follows, then we have Nigeria, Algeria, and Morocco. For this year, we have issued about 6.4 million of IP addresses. When I was comparing that to the figure we made for the last year, we've already reached 94% of what we issued for the whole year next year. Currently under evaluation, we have about 5 million of IP addresses, and I think we'll end the year with much more IP addresses being issued. Some initiatives that we have thought and we are contributing to that. Afrinic, based on the experience that we have observed while working tickets from our members, is that the member portal that we give to our members to manage their resources, we felt that that has to be enhanced with more tools so that our members can manage their resources in a better, intuitive way. So we have contributed some features to it based on what we've seen, but if the members and the members at Afrinic and the community as well, if you want something to contribute, if there are any features that you would like to see implemented as a member, please feel to contact us on hostmaster@afrinic.net or just send a message on membersdiscuss@afrinic.net. We will take your comments into consideration. If we can write the specs, we will do it. Otherwise, we'll contact you just to get more clarification so that we can service you better. As a reminder, we are at the member services booth. For those who have not yet come and seen us and you think you have any issues, please feel free to come and meet us. We'll be here till this afternoon. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Madvi. The last presentation we will take before the questions and answers will be from Amrish, and he will be taking us through the secure document management system that is operational at Afrinic. Can we have Amrish online? Thank you. If you can reach him by chat, let him know it's 10 minutes I am giving, just in case he can't hear me. Thank you, Dev Team at Afrinic. The floor is now open for the questions. Please, let's use the microphone. I will allow one question, and you can join the queue again if there's nobody at the queue. One question per iteration on the question queue. APB.
Thank you. Good morning. This is Alan Barrett. I think my question's for Anne Rochelle. It's about payment. I understand or got the impression from the presentation that there's an issue with organizations not paying their resource fees or not paying their joining fees or something. So my question is, if I'm a new member, I come along to Afrinic, I fill in some forms, I apply for some address space, and then I don't pay. Do I get that address space or not?
Okay.
Oops.
Okay. According to Afrinic procedure, before getting or obtaining IP resources, you must be registered as Afrinic member. And a Afrinic member implies that you submit your application, you get approved, you pay your membership invoice, and you sign the RSA. When those steps are done, then we can give you the IP resources. So if you don't pay or you don't have your RSA signed, you don't have the status of member. And this is the status of member that allow you to obtain IP resources.
Hi, Andrew Alston here from Liquid. I've got a question for Madhvi. Madhvi, I'd just like to understand what the delays are that result in it taking so long to do IP address transfers from one entity to another, as in the case of the request that's open with Liquid at the moment. I mean, obviously, I understand that this is probably a new process, so obviously there's some leeway there. I'd just like to understand why it takes so long, considering the request has been open since the 13th of March and hasn't as of yet been finalized.
Before you take that question, Madhvi, may I just appeal that issues specific to organizations should be taken off the floor. I do not think it is proper, but if you insist, I would ask that it be answered. But I think this is something you can correspond by email to find out why there is a delay.
Sunday, I was not, that was just one example. I was simply trying to find out exactly what the process is, and I think it is useful for all the members of the floor to understand that process and understand potential delays, because that results in less arguments with the host masters, which will make their jobs easier if there are delays, if we have a better understanding of the process involved.
On that note, I would say please address the process, but avoid addressing Liquid. Thank you.
Okay. Transfer processes are not that common in Afrinic. Based on statistics, we usually have new member requests or additional resource requests. So transfer processes are not that recurrent. But when we do receive them, we have to evaluate against the guidelines and manually transfer the resources from one org to another. Okay. When we have to do such transfers, then there's a need to be very diligent and to ensure that nothing breaks and that our resource inventory has to be updated and everything. So based on what we have observed and to minimize delays, we are trying to put in an automation for that. But there is a priority. The projects are usually priority-based. So if there's something that will affect a project that will affect our more than 1,000 members, that will have priority over a project that will affect maybe 5 or 6 members. But we are addressing the delays. It's not that we're trying to find an excuse about delays. We know when there are delays, and we're looking at automating some of these tasks to minimize them. Okay, thank you.
Cannot be, will it from a service point of view not be more appropriate to communicate this delay to members and give them an estimated time to resolution so that they at least have a finite hope that it will be resolved?
Yes, I take note of that.
Thank you, Madvi. Sheon.
Okay, I'm Sheon from Nigeria. I work for University in Nigeria. Before I make my comment and question, I want to be clear from Chair. You said we can only ask one question.
One question by iteration. After your question, you can go back to the line if you want to ask more questions. And if I still have time, I will take those questions. But I just want to make sure I am efficient. One question taken back to the back of the line. Next. I need to enforce my own rules.
That was just clarification.
No. That's already a question. Back to the back of the line. Thank you. I enforce my own rules. Please, to the back of the line. Thank you.
My name is Vitus from Ghana.com, of course from Ghana. My question is relating to membership. At least from the presentation, we are told that most members are from the English-speaking countries. My question is, what are the barriers preventing the French-speaking countries from joining? Is it because of the size of their networks? I mean, what is your analysis pointing to? I hope this is just one question. Thank you.
So, Africa is a huge continent. We have very diverse, very diverse population, but also several languages. And I'm talking about the official languages. So for anybody, for example, to interact with Afrinic in English, when English is not their primary language, is pretty difficult. For anybody to understand legalese that is in the RSA, that is probably based on common law and not on the Napoleon Code that the Francophones are using, and stuff like that takes time. So it's not only interfacing, working with us to basically understand what is online for them to be able to, become members. Sometimes it's really difficult. All the way to the point of, payments, because we have parts of the community, again, that do not have an advanced payment system, all the way to, reading, understanding, agreeing to the RSA to be able to do it. So there's seriously several barriers, which is why we're trying to, one of the steps that the board took last year was to allow us to, for example, translate the RSA and the bylaws into French and English, those saying that the authoritative, versions are the English ones. But at least that helps. It goes away to meeting people's needs in terms of understanding what they're signing for when they come to Afrinic. So that's really some of the issues that we're seeing.
Okay, APB, we will take questions for another 5 minutes, then I'll close it. 5 minutes, not more. Please take note. I'll draw the line. It's 10:45 now, 10:50. I'll close the questions. APB.
Okay, thank you. My question is for Madhvi. I'd like to point out that in 2005, about 8.5 years ago, a policy was brought to this community about AS numbers. And at that time, more than 8 years ago, equipment that could support large AS numbers bigger than 65,000 and something was already common. Now I understand you telling us that new members come to AfriNIC for an AS number, and in the last 8 years, they've not upgraded their equipment, and they want AfriNIC to do something special, which is outside the policy. I would like to point out. The policy says that as from 2010, we make no distinction between large and small AS numbers. We must treat them equally, yet you're somehow treating them differently. So I'd like to hear a little bit more about why the organizations want this and why AfriNIC is violating our own policy to cater to them.
No, we're not violating any policies. We do not differentiate. We usually were issuing from smallest to biggest, and we now issue from the biggest pool. But what we are seeing, and that was an observation that I wanted to present to the community, was what we have been seeing in the tickets, okay? Hi, AfriNIC, you've given me this large ASN, we can't use it, can we get a smaller one? Okay, so if we have in the pool, then we will issue it to them. But we ask for the reasons behind, and the reasons that we're getting is that the equipment do not support it, and we do ask, can't you upgrade? No, we don't have the funds to upgrade, or it's out of our control. So to facilitate our go live, give us a smaller one.
Okay, Sheon.
Okay, I'm Sheon again from Nigeria. I have a few comments and a question. My comments are, during the last AfriNIC meeting, we did suggest a tool, real-time communication tool to be integrated into the MyAfriNIC system. I think it would be good to have that done. And also, I would like to also suggest that if it's possible to have reports of usage of last, as reports of for presence of the IP addresses, the larger blocks, to know where they're actually being used, if it's possible to have those reports presented as part of the statistics of IP. I think it could also help us to understand how much people in our continent are actually using these IP addresses. The other comment is in regards to the award, the fire award. I think it may be good to have details of how the funding, that is, the money was being spent. We just got the summary. I don't know if, as members of this community, we are allowed to have those details. It would be good to get that clarified. Then the last, which is a question, is why is the member stats on the website different from the member stats that was presented? Thank you.
Okay, the question can be responded to. Why is member stats presented different from member stats on the website?
Soon, if I may ask, where did you see the discrepancy? Well, because this was just a snapshot. Yeah. And some of the stuff that they were giving are also members in good standing as opposed to the globals.
Yeah, I think when Atta was presenting, he indicated the number of members per country, and the number of members on the website, if you go to the map, is different. So I need to know why that is such.
As at when?
Yeah, so maybe you can then tell me, maybe that presentation was as at. Because the member stats actually that you presented shows that the number was lesser than what was on the website.
Yeah, sorry for missing that clarification. My presentation was based on statistic as of end of May.
36, end of May. This
Okay,
is
we can, I took note, and I'll come back to you.
yeah, this is Alain speaking on my personal capacity, and because I'm asking questions to Patricia, I think we can better understand each other in French. Patricia, ma question c'est par rapport à
My question concerns fire. We have sponsors, and we have donors. So what is the principle if I would like to contribute, if I have some from South Africa that I would like to put in? Do we have a minimum in order to participate to the financing of the fire? Everything depends.
Si tu as entre 30 000 et 100 000 dollars, à ce moment-là, tu es partenaire du programme et tu prends part à tout le processus d'orientation du programme. Tu vas vraiment participer aussi au processus.
And you can take part of the decisional process, selection. If you have money, you can participate. But if you have less money to invest, at that time you just become a sponsor. And we have just the three categories of sponsoring: the platinum, gold, and bronze. And also this will allow you to select a project to invest in. It can be health, education, or any other project. Or maybe you can invest on seminars, project workshops, or even in the marketing of the program.
Adil.
Yeah, I just want to maybe highlight once again the issue of Francophone and Anglophone engagement with Afrinic. I think this is a very serious issue that, that the community need to, we need to brainstorm on. One of the reasons as well that we have seen is the regulatory environment and the level of competition within French-speaking country and English-speaking country is not the same. And where you have competition, of course, definitely you have more member or more ISP, more operator in those countries, which are exposed and we join. And that is not always the case in French-speaking country. And although at Afrinic level we have taken several measures, like Anne Rachel mentioned, translation, and even in our team, the Housemaster team now is made fully of people who can both speak French and English. So the barrier of interacting with people speaking only French is diminishing from the operation side. But the other side of the thing, which is the exposure of operators and the internet ecosystem in French-speaking countries, another aspect which will need more engagement and more, I would say, presence of the organization in those countries, contrary to what it is now. That is one thing. Another thing that MADV didn't say, and I think the community must be aware of that as well, is that since January, MADV is the only one dealing with all tickets at Afrinic, getting help time by time by, from Ernest, but we have lost all 2 Housemaster at the end of the year, and we have been in the process of replacing them, and that process is quite a long process, and the team has been refurnished only recently. So that may explain some of the delay as well, and I think the community must be aware of that, that impact. Thank you.
Thank you, Adele. Andrew, I'm going to make this a privilege. I would want Andrew to be the last question, Sean, if you don't mind, but if it is because we've overshot the time. So you may just make it a note to Andrew. So if it's the same thing, let's have it done, okay?
Okay, I've just got a question for Anne Rochelle, and actually the rest of the AFRINIC team. At last year's meeting, there were commitments made by AFRINIC to have copies of the bylaws and various communications translated into Arabic by this year's meeting. As of yet, I haven't seen that, and I'd like to know when this is going to happen, considering that this continent has 350 million Arabic speakers, which make up more than a third of the population, and Arabic, according to the geographic statistics, is one of the largest languages spoken on the continent, and also considering the debate around forming a new RIR that was going on, because partially the lack of language representation to a large segment of our population, and hence I'd like to know why the commitments made haven't been met and when they are likely to be met. And Sean would like you to also respond to all of his comments.
Okay, I vetoed the comments because they are comments. It's no need responding to comments. So please, the issue of the RIR, the language is serious. I can see item coming.
Yeah, one comment to Mr. Andrew. I am curious to know why you are interested about Arabic. Do you speak Arabic?
Andrew, I will not give the floor to you. Item, your coming to the microphone has solved my problem. I actually thought you recruited Andrew. But since you are doing this public disclaimer, I will tell you that Andrew is interested in whatever will help the community. So, Andrew, Rachel, you can answer now. I'm now happy that you did not recruit him.
Andrew, in fact, you are definitely right. I mean, Arabic is the single most spoken language in the African region. You know, if we go by UNESCO statistics. So definitely this was one thing that we talked about, and the board actually raised it last year and gave us, I said, you know, authorization to translate both the bylaws and the RSA have been translated in French and in Arabic, and they're available. They've been, since when, Arthur? We've posted them for at least the past 4 months, I think. We did, so this is something that we did ask our translators to do, but we took some time to actually vet them with community people who are also members, like, you know, the Tunisians, the Egyptians and others for the Arabic, and then some of the Francophones also in the community. All right?
Perhaps, Anne Rachel, what would be right is an email to the members announced list with the link to these translations, because the job is not complete until the paperwork is done. All right, members, it's been a nice and interesting session this morning. Your comments have been very, very insightful and helpful. The AFRINIC team will take note of these comments in adjusting to repositioning the services to better serve members. The only thing standing between you and coffee now is me saying I sincerely apologize for boring you this